Peace. Assalamu alaikum. This is your brother Rahim, the investigative reporter, reporting to you what you need to know. This is part 6 of Rahim versus Bentray, the errors, contradictions, defects, vulgarity, etc. of the Bible. And this one is going to concentrate on the biblical zoology, which is wrong, dealing with the Bible. Okay, does the ant have a guide, overseer, or ruler, and queen, etc.? The Bible tends to give a different account, which is an error on the knowledge of the ant. Proverbs chapter 6 verse 6, 7, and 8, and it reads, "Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways, and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provideth her meat in the summer, and gather her food in the harvest." Verse 8 is basically right. 6 and 7, well, basically verse 7 is wrong. Okay, here is the different translations that basically say the same thing. And if Bentray wants to say the NIV is right, no, the NIV is wrong, because it says it has no commander, nor overseer, or ruler. So it's an error also. And you can read the different translation versions: King James Version, RSV, ASV, Young's, Darby, Noah, Webster, which he pulled out, I guess, the dictionary from that, and the HNV, Vulgate, and the NIV. Now let's move on. All the versions of the Bible are wrong, which makes it an error. Now let's see the knowledge of the ants as we look at the verse of the correct concept from the Qur'an. Al-Quran, chapter 6, verse 38. "There is not an animal that lives on the earth, nor a being that flies on its wings, but forms part of communities like you." So it's not just talking about the ant, it's talking about all the animals, insects, things we can't even see, or things in the sea. Okay, so the Quran basically corrects the Bible. So the Bible basically is saying that the ants has no rulers or overseers, such as a queen, foreman, or manager. That is totally out of the question, because ants are a sophisticated community of insects with communities like humans. People, if you want the knowledge of ants, you can definitely go online and check out their sociology and how they function, and to show you their colonies, etc., 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 which is equivalent with the word communities, which I'm using. This is a list, okay, of the ants and how they function socially. A, the ants bury their dead in a manner similar to humans. A lot of people don't know that. I've studied ants. It was 2 things I studied when I was younger. I had my own ant farm also. Ants and airplanes. I was deep into the Wright brothers until I found out they weren't the real ones who started or began to invest in flying. There were people before that. B, they have a sophisticated system of division of labor, whereby they have managers, supervisors, foremen, workers, soldiers, and a queen. Some colonies have more than one queen. C, once in a while they meet among themselves to have a chat. Yes, people, they communicate with each other. Also, they use pheromones, just like people have pheromones, and they use their pheromones to go back and forth from their colony. When you see them in a line, that's what they put on the ground, pheromone. You can't see it with the naked eye. E, they hold regular markets wherein they exchange goods from one community base to another. F, they store grains for long periods in the winter, and if the grain begins to bud, they cut the roots, as if they understand that if they leave it to grow, it will not rot. Same what humans do when we're dealing with a garden. I deal with, growing fresh fruit for myself, and we do the same thing. If the grains stored by them get wet due to rains, they take these grains out into the sunlight to dry, and once they are dry, they take them back inside, as though they know that humidity will cause development of root system and thereafter rotting of the grain. That's deep. In recent times, research has shown us several facts about the lifestyle of the ants, which were not known to earlier to mankind. The ants' lifestyle is the closest to humans. Research shows us this was not known in the time of Muhammad, peace be upon him, or earlier, and only known to us in the 19th century. This is a picture I took of a community ant hill they built beside a curve, and it was like maybe 5 inches high. As you can see the holes that they enter in. Okay, now I'm going to show you something else which is similar to us. This is a picture of Petra, where people used to live inside the mountain. They carved out holes just like the ants do. Okay, some ants build ant hills, and some build their homes under the ground. It's different types of ants. They took this land and built a large community just as we would do as humans into bedded rock at mountain sides. The holes are where they leave and enter, just like humans. This reminds me of how some humans did the same for their communities. Now look at illustration 1B, as it looks similar to that of ants done by humans. In etymology, they would call this colonies. For the ant kingdom, there are more than 12,000 species of ants all over the world. An ant can lift 20 times its own body weight. Ants don't have lungs. Oxygen enters through tiny holes all over the body, and carbon dioxide leaves through the same holes. That's deep, because we do the same thing through our mouth and our nose. Here's another picture, okay, that I took of how the ants build their colony or their community with the holes, and they look just like the picture where the humans did it at Petra. So you can read that if you want. Let me go on. Here's another illustration, 1E, okay, of ants, starting to build their little ant hill, and you see the hole that they go through. Okay, Leviticus in King James Version and the NIV, both are wrong. If you read this, it says, all fowls that creep going upon all four shall be abomination to you. Yet these may yet eat of every flying creeping thing that go upon all four, which have legs above their feet to leap withal upon the earth. But all of the flying creeping things which have 4 feet shall be an abomination to you. NIV chapter 11:20 is wrong because it doesn't even line up with the King James. One is insect, one is fowls. Fowls don't have 4 feet, they have 2. Insects don't have 4 feet, they have 6 or more legs. Most insects have 6. Okay? And you can read where it says winged creatures that have 4 legs are to be digested. And that's the NIV, RSV, and the Arabic, and the NSB. So I went to all of them. Here's an Arabic Bible. It says the same thing. Insects. NIV. So I went and covered this for you. And I'm showing you the pictures. Morphology of a flying insect. A child knows that an insect like a fly or a bee, ant, has 6 legs. I can go deeper into the ant, but there's no need to. The point to prove is those type of flying things don't have 4. An eagle don't have 4 legs. If we're talking about an eagle, they don't have 4 legs. They have 2. They have 2 feet. Okay. International Standard Bible Encyclopedia. Okay. It tells you insects. In the English version of the Bible, including the marginal notes, we find at least 23 names of insects of words referring to them. Ant, ball, locust, bee, beetle, crankworm, caterpillar, creeping thing, cricket, crimson, flea, fly, gnat, grasshopper, honey, hornet, locust, louse, lice, moth, palmer worm, sandfly, scarlet. It keeps going, and it's talking about insects. These are insects. They're not fowls. Okay, let's move on to fowls. International Standard Bible Encyclopedia, fowl. The word is now generally restricted to the larger, especially the edible birds, basically domestic chickens, turkeys, etc. Let me read on. But formerly it denote all flying creatures. In King James version, we have even all fowls that creep, going upon all 4. Every flying, creeping thing that goeth upon all 4. Now we know, people, that even fowl don't have 4 feet. They don't walk upon 4s. They just don't. They have 2 legs and 2 feet. There's no explanation for that. You can't even come up with a good excuse for that. If you try to, you're going to make yourself look silly. Okay? These are the errors, types of errors that's in the Bible. And I have a plethora more. But I don't want to keep making more videos. So we can't say the NIV is correct. No, it's wrong too. So I covered all the bases. Okay? So there you have it, folks. This is more knowledge that you would know now. And please go look up ants. Okay? Go look up fowls or whatever, and you'll see what I'm saying. The Bible is wrong. The ant does have a overseer, foreman, queen. You know, they have overseers. Okay? And with that, I say peace. Assalamu alaikum. See you soon.